are back now with our big board, and Dan Abrams is here with our first story that we're going to talk about. It's a privacy debate over what's being called a breathalyzer for your phone. New York lawmakers are trying to combat distracted driving by pushing a bill that would let police use so-called textalyzers, devices that could determine if a person was on the phone at the time of an accident. Please explain. It's about 9 months away from possibly being enacted, but tell us the case that led to this.
Yeah, so Dad basically says, I don't understand why it took so long to find out why my 19-year-old son had a head-on collision with somebody else, and he had been trying to get any information about whether the other driver was texting. And his position is, why should it take so long? Why should it be so hard? Why should it require a civil lawsuit in order to get that sort of information as to whether the other driver was texting? Shouldn't this be sort of the basics, much like a breathalyzer is? And so that's what's led, at least in New York, this big effort to try to get what they're calling these textalyzers in place.
Now, the textalyzer, you know, a lot of privacy advocates are waving the red flag. Privacy violation. What is their concern?
So the concern is that you won't just be able to get the information as to was someone using it, but you'll be able to get all the information that's in someone's phone. And in all of our phones is our lives. And so people are saying, wait a sec, just because someone is involved in an accident, that shouldn't necessarily mean that the police suddenly get access to your entire phone, which is what makes the technology here so important. And this is, as you point out, about 9 months away. If the technology can truly only assess did someone use their phone without getting access to the material on the phone, that makes a big difference and may be able to address the most significant of the privacy concerns.
Things are always changing, technology, so that could, by the time this is going to be passed in 9 months. But it's not just New York State.
That's right.
There's other places that are considering this.
Look, texting is something that's being discussed around the country. It's outlawed across the country when it comes to driving. But that doesn't mean you can necessarily figure out whether someone was doing it. And that's what they're trying to assess here, not just in New York.
All right. Thank you, Dan. Keep our eye on that. Textalyzers, okay? And now to America's newest pageant queen. Overnight, Miss USA crowned its 2017 winner, Miss District of Columbia, Kara McCullough. She walked away with this year's title in a nail biter. And joining us now is Miss USA 2015, Olivia Jordan. And Olivia, a lot of heat online for some comments that were made when Miss USA was asked about health care, and a lot of comments were made. We're going to look at some of it. We're going to look at what she said. Let's take a look.
Do you think affordable health care for all U.S. citizens is a right or a privilege, and why?
I'm definitely going to say it's a privilege. As a government employee, I am granted health care, and I see firsthand that for one, to have health care, you need to have jobs. So therefore, we need to continue to cultivate this environment that we're given the opportunity to have health care as well as jobs to all the American citizens worldwide.
And Olivia, that lit up social media right there. And what are people saying online about her comments on health care?
You know, this was such a controversial topic, and people are heated about it. But I really felt that people are saying she should have said it was a right instead of a privilege. But her answer really did come around to say that Americans should have jobs and they should have health care. So I think that she came from a good place, and I would like to hear more about what she has to say on the issue, because she only had 30 seconds to answer the question. And as you know, for such a hot topic, that is not enough time.
You know that all too well, and you bring up a good point about that, Olivia, because it's 30 seconds, and when people were trying to say, I said, I want to hear more from her. It's hard to in just 30 seconds, but how difficult is it to be put on the spot like that and give an answer?
You know, it is. These are the hardest topics. They always come at you with the hard-hitting questions, and you only have such a brief moment to think about it and answer. And what high pressure that your job literally depends on what comes out of your mouth. So it's so intense, and you definitely have to do a lot of preparation. You have to be well-versed on every topic that is plaguing our world, and then you only get a brief amount of time to get your thoughts across. So it's definitely challenging, and I think she handled herself with confidence, grace, and she's a nuclear scientist. I'm so proud to have her in the Miss USA family.
Absolutely.
A lot of positives there.
A lot of positives there. And 5 women on the stage last night, they immigrated to the U.S. at a young age. So they spotlighted diversity yesterday. How important was that?
Absolutely. It's so important to just celebrate all of these women and their stories, and the diversity of America was absolutely represented on the stage. And in the past few years, I think you've seen more of that, and you've seen more of who these women are, how strong, how confident, how well educated, and the diversity of what their field of study is, what their job is, and where they come from in the world. And I think that was a beautiful celebration last night of all of that.
All of that. Miss USA.
Unfair question, though. That's a tough question to ask someone, right? Privilege
Yes.
versus right on health care?
You can ask somebody of favorite color.
Exactly, right? Yeah, that's a,
If you're a tree, what kind of tree would you be?
yeah, well, no, you can ask hard questions, but that's a setup. Yeah.
Olivia, thank you. Dan, thank you for weighing in.
Yeah. I wasn't asked to, but nevertheless.
That's never stopped.
Yeah.
He's going to be a judge one day.
Yeah.
I could see you in one of these pageants.
Yeah.